How many of you have ever felt attacked, targeted? Like everything you do in a certain direction, something, some way shuts it down. How many of you were even like non-believers in, some higher power, whatever you want to call it, but so much opposition has come against you that you're like, no, there has to be something because so much is up against me. Well, the cool thing is, if a lot comes up against you, it's because God put a lot more within you. The not so fun thing is, getting through that treacherous valley. At the same time, though, it's that resilience through the valley that breeds the payoff in the long term. So this is going to be a chosen one message. I am just entirely improvising here because I want to share something really profound that happened this last week for me. That was the coolest 7-day retreat, really it's only been, I guess, 5 days, that God could have ever gifted me in the middle of a week. And at such a perfect time. You see, this last Friday, I had the pleasure of going to what's called a Life Surge event. And oh my gosh, if there's an event near you, I cannot recommend it enough. Not only was I crying from inspiration, but the speakers were incredible. They're all speakers that I follow online. Craig Rochelle of Life Church, my favorite church personally to attend. Ed Milet, who is top 50 most wealthiest in Forbes or whatever. He's also incredibly inspirational, amazing podcast, and wow, he had me honestly crying the most. Tim Tebow, who a lot of people know through sports, but he's also such an amazing giver and he's given so much. Nick V, who has no arms and no legs. He's from Australia. And his parents just raised him to believe that he could still do anything. He had a brain, so he can do anything. And all these men are self-made millionaires who are not just millionaires within their own right, but they expand their wealth and they multiply their wealth. They're also all fathers, well, except for Tim. The Benham brothers were also there, who are in real estate, but they are people who have multiplied in their family. They have multiplied the wealth that they have been given. They give wealth to others, and you see it in their auric field when they speak on stage, just how their heart is. And the thing that each one of these people had in common was they had something super against them. Craig, they didn't even let him graduate to be ordained. They put him on probation. They basically were rejecting him. And it's funny because it's the business mind and the business degree that he has in college that made him so wealthy in the long term that their church is debt-free, but that he's also able to pay his employees very handsomely. He's also been able to teach and spread wealth and made so many others wealthy through his wealth. And that only comes from his business degree. So, basically the very thing that all of these people were chastised for, were rejected for, were canceled for. And it was funny because each of them were speaking. They were like, we were all canceled before cancel culture was even a thing. And now cancel culture is everywhere. And it's a seed that really stops people from going after what God planted within their hearts. And it was so powerful to listen to all of these men speak on being, broke, growing up, not having certain things, and then providing and creating that and being pushed against resistance continuously, and just building, compounding this faith. It's almost like it's the momentum. It's like you build so much that we live in a universe of, equal action, opposite reaction, etc. So it's like at some point, the dam has got to break. And what is it? With Ed Milet, his book, it's like The Power of One More. And oh my gosh, his story with that was just incredible. But I believe that's the title of one of his books. But it's like, if you can really live by that and stay present and just say one more day, rather than really looking at the long term, just tackling each day, getting through your list, what things, are really going to get you towards your goal. I make a list of 10 things and I have to do at least 7 things on that list every day. Then I know that I'm taking great strides towards the God seed that was planted within me. And on a bad day, I may only do 3 or 4 things on that list, but that's still better than 0. And I still, it's still slowly trudging ahead. And that's the thing. There's so much tenaciousness to be able to walk with the Lord in these ways. So last week, I injured my ankle pretty badly. It was like the size of a football. I posted pictures of it everywhere. And I was certain that it was shattered. I have a very high pain tolerance. I was doing a workout on a trampoline. I miscalculated a side-to-side jump squat and jumped off the trampoline, landed on my ankle, visibly saw my leg stand on the ankle with my foot completely 90 degrees sideways, passed out nearly for a second, was seeing spots purple, just like laid down, almost puked, couldn't eat that entire day. It immediately blew up. I was like, that's it, it's shattered. I got it x-rayed the next day. They were like, it's not broken unless it's broken that the swelling is so much that it's actually pushing everything together. But even if that is the case, nothing is displaced. So I just did immobilization, prayed over it, did hot and cold therapy because I have a pulsed electromagnetic field biomat that also has infrared photons through it, along with the PEMF. So I alternated 20 minutes of my horse's ice boot and then 20 minutes of the biomat and the heat with that and the red light. And by day 3, I was walking with a cane. It's day 5, and the swelling is down by like 70%. I haven't taken any pain medications. I don't believe in pharma, anything like that. I've just been praying and really sitting with the Lord and sitting with my Bible every day. And then, you know, day 3, I got to go to this event of these men talking about everything that has come up against them. And it's like this injury this week, I was so certain. Well, first of all, my demeanor through the whole process has really shown me how far I've come. Because there are days when I feel... There are days when I don't want to say I feel doubt, but I question. There are days when I question, like, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And when I had so much time to sit with God this week with my ankle, you know, I realized I've had so many things mentally and emotionally break me, but I've never actually had a physical injury. I, you know, was powerlifter, yoga instructor. I bend so I don't break. I've had some really nasty falls off of horses. I've had some really nasty accidents, but I'm like Gumby. So essentially, and I've like mastered just like relax, just be goo, and like absorbing the impact. So this is honestly my first like injury. And it was so cool because when the injury first happened, instead of having this like immediate rush of no, or oh, this is so bad, like like red alert, this is awful, I had this immediate like spiritual moment where I was like, I can now test all of the things that I've educated myself on, because I'm huge on autopathy, which is using your own saliva to heal your body, and homeopathy, which is using like tiny amounts of things. And I was like, okay, arnica, because everyone knows arnica for inflammation. But I was like, rust tox, because rust tox, even though it's poison ivy. So I used my own, you know, self-prognosis, so to speak, to use homeopathy, and using my, you know, biomat, my horse's ice boot. I just did my own protocol, and it's like brand new. And I'm online, I'm reading all these things of people who have, you know, grade 3 sprain with tears like mine. And these people are in writhing pain on week 2, on week 3, and I'm like, I'm on day 5, and it's almost like nothing ever happened to my ankle. But I also never once in that process felt a sense of, oh no, or when am I going to get to ride again, or I'm going to be out this many weeks from physical, and like I never saw it as a negative thing. And if you would have asked Valerie a couple years ago, or I'd say more than a couple years ago, I would have been upset. But take me back, I don't know, 7 years ago, I would have felt that writhing sense of doom, like, oh no, this is bad, like bad, bad, bad. And that already breeds a spell over my healing process, right? Because I'm putting doubt in God, but I'm also seeing something wrong with the situation. So I'm labeling it and I'm acknowledging it as such. And I didn't do that this time. I never labeled it as, you know, I never labeled it as anything. I was like, this is an opportunity for me to get closer to God and for me to really listen and communicate with my body. And I've also been eating mostly carnivore and doing 1 meal a day so that my body's going into autophagy and stem cell and, you know, all the growth hormone to heal it. And I don't know, it's just been such a fascinating week and such a powerful week in healing that I'm like, what a gift that God gave me the gift of this injury alongside the week I get to see all these speakers speak. And I just thought of, you know, so many of you are probably going through tests and trials and tribulations right now. And I want you to know that how you're handling it and how your mindset is about it is how big the blessing that God can bring into your life. Because if you still feel that impending sense of doom, you know you've got more work to do. Bless you.